Hi everybody, this is Adrienne with Ascension Soul Coaching. So today is March 8th, it's Monday 2021. So I actually watched the interview last night, Sunday in America. I watched it through my son's phone. He used his phone, used his video so I could watch it through the phone, through video. I wasn't going to watch it on TV and give them no ratings for this, so I just felt like I shouldn't, and I didn't. I kept my promise to myself, so I didn't add to the ratings list. But I started to watch this interview with Harry and Meghan and Oprah, and I can only imagine what they were going to say. I couldn't think how bad it could go off because it was unnecessary, but she felt that she needed her voice heard, so and Oprah did a decent job of getting some information out, and she wasn't too soft. She was a little soft in some areas. There was some, I mean, you can only do so many, you can't live a person's life in 2 hours, right? It's like in a movie, you can only do the highlights. There was a lot of other questions I would have asked and I would have pushed on, and I would have made my little comments about if what I was getting was, I felt, untruthful, or at least further dig down that trench of what some of the questions that were asked and answered and how they were answered that was not satisfying. Okay, so I just want to start with my summary, high level, what happened. Because when I started watching the video or the interview, I didn't take any notes. I wasn't trying to take any notes. I was like, I'm just going to listen to what she has to say, what Meghan has to say, and what Harry has to say. But it started out the gate like 5 minutes in, like, what? So then I started taking notes. So and I may refer with my glasses on to the notes, because I wrote, these are my notes. I had to go get an envelope, something really quick with a pen. I had a red pen, and I just started taking notes. And I'm like, I think it's going to be interesting to be able to really talk intelligently about what happened, and from my point of view, and to get it right, not skew anything. So let's start with the fact that they got married 3 days before the wedding. Blew me away. And I say it blew me away. I think it's going to blow a lot of people away, because everybody thought that day was the day. And I think that's what she wanted to say, that they wanted their day, and then there was a day for the world. Nobody else that we know have done that before, but okay, it's their wedding. But to reveal it 2-3 years later, one, why after all this time? I think some people knew, but because other people, I think they're in the news, in the tabloids, it had been like they got married in Africa before they came and got married in the States or something like that. We don't know. But the point of the matter is, I think that shocked people. That will shock people, especially people who've been complaining about her leaving after a year and a half, and the amount of the money they spent for the real wedding, for the big wedding ceremony, and you were already married. On top of that, this make people more angry, especially the British people, because they paid for something that they didn't have to pay for. If she wanted to get married in the backyard, she should have just done it. I don't know how she got Harry to agree to that. My opinion, what I'm reading from this, is that she was saying, she probably told, because she's manipulative, so she probably was like, they're going to kill me, I don't think we're going to get married, I think somebody's going to stop us from getting married, well, I just feel like this is not going to happen. I don't know. And then he said, okay, fine, let's do it. Because it didn't cost him much more money to do it, just to go ahead and get married, just connections and networking and keeping people quiet. And then the big wedding was still on 3 days later. But it just was so ingenuous though, right? Because the fairy tale wedding happens on the day. I mean, there's just not rules, it's just culture and protocol, and this is what you do. This is the day. This is the day everybody's waiting for. And it just felt like when she told us that, it took that away. But it was her wedding. I just felt like that's going to be a big thing to some people. I mean, it's just crazy. But anyway, so that was another thing. So I didn't hear every single word because my son's phone was going in and out, but there was a lot I heard. So let me just go through it. And that really, I don't want to just go over the things that got me upset, but let's just, or I don't want to say upset, but raise my eyebrows. So let's see. Oops. She said everything changed about her, the family was welcoming of her when she first came in. Of course they was. They paid for the wedding, and the British people paid for the wedding, and Prince Charles walked her halfway down the aisle. So I would assume that they all welcomed her in, the family. They agreed that everybody welcomed her to the family. Even the Queen took her out on her first engagement on the train, I think it was, whatever. So she was happy about that, and it was fine. Then it changed, they claim, during the Australia tour when she was pregnant. She said people were jealous Okay, and then they compared it to when Princess Diana and Charles went to Australia, and Princess Diana had a great first, well, I don't know if it was her first one, but she had a great tour. And I think she had William at the time, and you can see that in The Crown. That's when people got jealous of Diana, and this is when she's saying people got jealous of her. So who can we infer that was jealous of her? It had to be Kate, because who else is even in that realm of having tours, right? But I believe, again, that was just Meghan's, because I guess negative stories started to come out, and that Meghan probably started telling Harry, see, it's Kate putting these stories out. Only Kate would know these things, and she's jealous of me. And, you know, Mr. Harry believes everything she says. She's very manipulative. I'm going to keep saying that. If you have dealt with a manipulative person or a narcissist or a covert narcissist in your life, you can see it. People on the outside can't see it. They've never, and in the first time you experience this, you don't know you're being taken and had. They will tell you everything you want to hear, get your confidence, get you to believe they know everything about you, and you just sink together. They do. They know how they seek those people out, those codependent people out, and they get into their heads and they make them think there's a best fairy tale wedding or relationship ever, that they know everything about you, and then they start throwing knives at other people to separate you from the other people in your life who are close to you and have influence over you. They will start telling fibs, and what they do is they don't tell a full fib. They'll tell a half lie and a half truth to mash them together so it sounds truthful. So you'll say, there was probably things that Kate knew about the Australian tour, because they know everybody's schedule. Back then, you know, they all talk about, they were senior royals, so everybody talked about everybody's schedule and what they were doing. So Kate knew a lot about what Meghan and Harry were doing on their tour, or what going to do on their tour. And so she could use a lot of things that she knew Kate knew about it, and say, see, only Kate knew this, only Kate knew that. I think it's Kate putting out bad stories about me. And maybe Harry believed a little bit, maybe he didn't. But this is where Meghan is starting to say, this is where she's starting to say, it went bad. The family turned on her. Okay. Let's see what else. Protection about the baby. If y'all here, you gonna see this. She was so indignant that baby, Archie, did not get his title. She said, how dare them? They had no right to take his birthright away from him. First of all, that's the queen. She could do what she wanted to do. But there is a rule that came out in 1917. Was it King George V? Looked it up. I looked it up when he didn't get a title and they were talking about it before. But then when she brought this up, I had to look it up again. So I wanted to be very precise in this. That said that how he wrote it is that the grandchildren, all the children of the queen, or the monarch they call it, can be titled prince or princess. The grandchildren can also be princes and princesses. But when you get down to the great-grandchildren, there's no guarantee they will be. They don't have to be called that. They don't have the same luxury as the ones above them. So what happens is when Charles becomes king, then Archie will become titled as a prince. So it's like King George V didn't want so many people in that pool that they had to take care of as senior royals with titles, so it stopped at a certain level, and it was at the great-grandchildren of the monarch. And Archie is a great-grandchild of the queen. So that is why he didn't get a title. She said she didn't know why, and then she threw in the part about his skin color, and then they also said something about his skin color, like what color will he be? And Oprah asked her, are you saying that Archie didn't get a title prince because of his skin color? And she was like, well, I mean, I would, something to the fact that it kind of seems like that. That was wrong. She should never have done that. And she did that crap on purpose. Everything was on purpose. If you want to talk about the most purposeful thing she said that was intent, you could see it was something she was going to say, and she made sure you understood what she was saying, was that part. That part, and a part about her suicide attempts or thoughts. I'm going to go get into that in a second. But she was indignant. How they didn't have a right to take my child's birthright away, and I fought for him. He needed protection. They said he wouldn't even have protection. Then you come find out that the queen doesn't order protection. It's from the police or whatever. They the one that say whether someone has protection or pay for protection, because if you're not of a certain rank, they don't pay for it. They don't do it, right? And she says, I fought for it and I fought for it. And if they were going to give it, and when we decided to leave and they told us we were going to lose all our protection overall, she said, I was just fighting for if why not my child? We had nothing to do with this hoopla that's going on, and we've getting death threats, and he needs protection. And if not, Harry, if not Archie and me, then at least give it to Harry. I even wrote letters for my husband to get protection. See, the problem is when you leave work as a working royal, you step away, you lose those privileges. You got money, pay for it yourself. You knew as an adult, Harry especially, what the rules were. And you, when you decided to leave, I'm sure they told you, if you didn't know this, you lose these things too. And you still decided to leave. So when you decided to leave, whether you left because you felt threatened and you didn't feel whatever, or you just didn't like being a royal anymore, or you thought life was too hard, whatever, you left. You made a conscious decision to leave. And so you lose those perks. That's just it. That's what it is. They didn't owe you anything when you left. You were no longer working. It's like if I leave my place of employment, I don't want to work there anymore. I lose my benefits from that company. And you left the company on purpose. So don't give me that. You should have thought about that. And on top of that, you making money, Meghan, and Harry has a trust fund from his mother. Y'all could pay for it. But no, y'all went and bought that big $16 million house. But now saying you got no money for protection? That's not the royal family's problem. That is your problem. Okay, so let's go on. She said she was blamed for everything. I know. Oprah said, so you know, out there in social media, they're saying that you're you're the reason why Harry left and it's your fault. And she's like, I know, they blame me. Or you better wake up. I'm not saying it is not true. I'm just saying it's like everybody knows the line of demarcations when she entered your life. All this stuff started. So it's Meghan. Meghan is not with her own family because all the crap that's went on there with her and her family. Now you got crap going on with your family, and the only person that's in common with all that crap is Meghan. You need to wake up. Meghan is a troublemaker. She's a manipulator, and you know what? She get what she wants, but at the cost of other people's lives, though. That's my only problem with Meghan. I don't care if you go out and get what you want and you do good and you get your life, girl. Get your life. But don't ruin other people in the interim. And that's what she does. She gets certain people, key people she can control, and it causes ripples and issues within the families. And then they break up, and this is her and Harry. And that's what narcissists do. They try to get everybody away so they can just control their source, which is Harry. And Harry don't even know he's being controlled. And if he does, or he feels like sometimes he is, she just comes in and just give him a little bit of love, and he forgets about that. That's my opinion. Okay, so that's my opinion, I said. So people can't take me off of YouTube because I made an opinion. It's an assessment. I'm not her doctor. I'm not his doctor. But, my God, you can see the signs. Let's see what else. She just wanted to do a good job when she got hired into the royal family, but no one told her what to do or how to do it. She was committed to doing it. Only though she stayed there on a year and a half. But she said nobody taught her what to do, nobody trained her, but I'm sure other people got trained. What a slight to Kate. To say it like that. I'm sure other people got trained. No, let me tell you about Kate. Kate dated William for what? 8 years before he got married. They got married, so she learned over time. This is why William told Harry, slow down. You don't know her. You know, let's see if she can handle this. He didn't want to do it. So don't tell me about Kate. Kate put in the work for 7 years before she got married. She built relationships in that family. She didn't isolate people and piss them off. She had problems with the media. They talked a lot about her, like Weighty Katie and, you know, Lazy Katie, and they said a lot of bad things about Kate, Princess Kate. So she didn't have it easy. Dinah didn't have it easy. Fergie didn't have it easy. It's called Fergie fat, and she couldn't dress. And they said a lot of bad things about Fergie. This is not the first time. And then after they like you, they get you. They see you can hang in with them. They can pretty much stay off of you until you do something stupid. But I don't think Meghan wanted to stay from the get-go. I think that's why she never became a British citizen. She changed her her religion to the Church of England, but she did not change her citizenship with America. She didn't even become a dual citizen. So I don't think she ever planned on staying. I really, truly believe in my heart. She came in, her plan was to get married, get a title, have a baby or two, and then leave. when she couldn't get her way as quickly as she wanted, she realized she was really fighting up against this institution. I believe, and we'll get into this, she became, she claimed suicidal. I'm not going to say she wasn't. I'm just going to say, from my point of view, what I see, everybody's been through crap at work, right? Everybody's been through stressful situations. You know, most of us have. But what I believe happened is she knew she was going to leave eventually. But she wanted that boy to have a title. And she said, I fought for it. How are you going to fight for something that's not yours? It's a gift from the queen. He wasn't born as a prince. He gets the title when Prince Charles becomes king. And that's if Prince Charles want to give it to him. So, and I think after this thing here, that titles may be taken away from the mom and daddy. But we're going to see. We're going to see. All right. Let's see. What else did they go over? Oh, also, Meghan was saying that Oprah said, were you silent or silenced? So were you not talking or were you told not to talk? In other words, and she said she was silenced, that she was told to say no comment on certain things. And that's what the British royal families always told all of them. Just say no comment. It has to go through the chain of command so they can make sure. Even with my company I work for, you're not in charge. We're not trained to be or hired to be the communication leg of the company. So we allowed them to do it along with the CEO, the president of the company. Same with Meghan. You allow the queen in her communication department and senior royals make the decision about what they want to talk about and how much information they want to give out, if any at all. That's their prerogative. You work for them. You are a working royal for the queen. You don't run things. But anyway, so that was it. I'm going to get off that. I got to keep going. All right. But she wasn't silenced because she also had Sunshine Saga. And y'all know that she had her own PR team called Sunshine Sax. She had a couple PR teams when she was still in England. So for her to say she was silenced, she was leaking stories. She had her own PR team like she does now. So don't believe the freaking hype. And this stuff, making this stuff about racism is wrong. She's doing this. I'm not saying people haven't said anything that was negative about her and her complexion or her child. But it wasn't main media. Maybe one or two. But you don't hear that anymore, do you? No. Okay. So, overall, the thing about somebody saying the child was, the royals had a problem with the skin tone of Archie. Like, what colors? Let me just say this. And this is coming from my perspective and my view. I know a lot of people who have biracial children, black and white, other races in black, other races in white. And I have 2 biracial children from my first husband, and they're Puerto Rican. He's very, very light skinned. He looks almost white. And so my kids came out pretty light, very light when they were born. And people would tell me when they were born, they didn't know they were was my children because they were so white looking. And I would walk out with them to the store and they would be like, oh, who is that? Whose child is that? I said, it's my daughter. Oh, he must look more like, she must look more like her daddy. Because she was so white. But it's true, she did. She did look more like him. She had a lot of his features. But I didn't take it. You get a second look like, what? But then you're like, she does. So I didn't take offense to it. But you do think about what the complexion is a child going to be when you have all these mixtures. It's not like a bad thing. It's like, but just take it from this instance. Let's say he's a redhead and he married a white girl who was blonde. Somebody might say, I wonder what color the hair of the child's going to be because he has red hair. It doesn't mean it's a racial thing. It's just, this is an observation. But it also could have been taken as a slight. The problem that what was said was that, how she put it, was that first it wasn't said to her. And when Oprah pushed her about the comment, who said that? Who said that about the baby skin tone? She said, oh, well, it wasn't me. It was with Harry. Harry told me. And then she said, well, what did he say about that? Well, I didn't follow up on it. So why are you bringing it up? You wouldn't mention who said it or how it was said or what in context, the whole story around it, because you weren't there supposedly. Then when at the end, because she was talking to Meghan separately, at the end when she was talking to both of them, she did bring that up again. Oprah brought it up again. She said, your wife said that there was an instance where somebody in the family said, or in Buckingham Palace, whatever, said something about this color of your child's skin. What was that about? And he was like, well, I don't want to talk about it. And she was like, well, can you tell me who said it? I don't think I want to say that. I don't want to do that. And he didn't want to talk about it at all. First of all, here's my thing. I think he wasn't expecting her to bring that up. Because he wasn't there when she did the first interview by herself. But Oprah brought it back up when they both was there. And he didn't want to talk about it. One, she wasn't the one that heard it. Two, she didn't want to give out a name. She said it was with her husband and somebody else. And then when they asked her husband about it, he didn't want to talk about it, give no names, or further the conversation about it. So why bring it up? Now you got this conjecture out there that the family's racist. It doesn't mean the family's racist. It means that somebody may have asked a question about the color of the baby's skin. It could have been a racial question. I dated a white guy when I was in college. I was just about to graduate. And he was white. He was from Rhode Island in America, Rhode Island, up north. And he introduced me to his mother. We dated like a month. We've been dating for about a month or so. And so he called his mother to introduce me to her. This is before video phones and all that stuff. So it was just a phone. He put her on speaker. And he was like, this is Adrian. And, Mom, I just want you to know she's black. The first thing the mother said was, oh, but what about the children? If you all two get married, what about the children? They're going to have problems in life. I hadn't even said hello to the lady yet. Really. He had just introduced me on the phone, on speakerphone, and he just wanted to go ahead and let her know up front, which was the right thing to do. She's black, just so you know. And that was the first thing out of her mouth. What about the children? I'm like, we're just dating. We just like each other. We ain't talking about marriage. I was like, oh my goodness, but I didn't take no offense. I took offense to it in a way like I felt sorry for her because that's stupid. It was starting to be so many mixed kids that I was seeing, especially around the military area. So it was like, to me, like, it's no big deal, We raise our kids. If I was to have kids by him, we would raise our kids the way we would raise the kids that are purely black or purely white, with the caveat that yes, you're mixed, and so you need to know that. And there may be people who may not understand that, but I would hope my family would, and his family would. So let's move on. So yeah, it happens. It doesn't mean somebody's racist. It means they're ignorant or not informed about life in that particular area. And if it's somebody who was older who said it, like 100 years old, you can understand their worldview, Not that they were against it, just that they were, I wonder what color they're going to be. Maybe it could have even been like the Glenn's mother, like how would they be treated by other people because of their skin color? Not that I would treat them bad, but maybe they were concerned about how other people would treat them. What was the conjecture? What was the story behind the comment? What was the extra? What was there any other dialogue? Or did Harry just walk away and say, they're just worried about the baby's skin color? And not really tell her, or not really even further the conversation with the person that said it. Well, are you more worried about the skin color or how people are going to treat them? And how are you going to treat them if he's dark skinned? Why wouldn't you just have that conversation? Then you would know for sure who was racist. But you didn't go into it. You didn't ask it. So you shouldn't have talked about it. It was too much, and you've left. And what you've done with that is you perpetuated this racial narrative that the family is racist. We don't know if they're racist. You've never heard them say a racist thing. And if y'all keep going back to, it's colonization days, and remember the monarch went out and they conquered all these black African nations and, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, they did that. But Queen Elizabeth did not. And a lot of times, what I see now is countries who want to leave, they just vote on it, get an agreement that they want to leave and leave. So nobody's being held captive there. And if the country don't leave, you can leave and go somewhere else. You can come to America. Shoot, we were slaves here, our forefathers. I can leave and go where I want to go, right? Nobody's captive right now. Not in these two countries. When we're talking about these two countries or the Commonwealth, people can leave. So stop it. She's biracial. We know that. They knew that when he married her. When she got pregnant, it did not become an issue. They already knew it. What I think they're more concerned about is that she's manipulating him. And they know it, and they see it, and he don't see it. And that's what the problem, there lies the problem. Okay, what else was there? Oh, I'm going to get to that last. She said, okay, here's another one. She said that, She didn't know how she got all over the news. That she had been in the house and only left 2 times in, what did she say, 2 times in 4 months, something like that. But her face was everywhere, and the family was like, or the firm, and or whoever, seniors would say, no, go out because you're oversaturated. And she's like, I don't understand why. And she said, I don't remember. I think they took my passport, my IDs, and my keys, and I wasn't allowed to go anywhere. I was in lockdown like people are now with COVID. Listen, you were not. Because people who followed you, who've been following you, knew you left to go on a private jet to America for your $500,000 baby shower for Archie and to New York. Did you need your passport then? You went on Elton John's jet to go wherever he was. Did you need your ID or anything then? And then you went back to New York. Was it New York again when you went to Serena's tennis match by yourself on the jet to America? After you had Archie, did they take your passport? Did they give it back to you then? I mean, girl, you didn't go anywhere? They had your passport? What, it's like a Jim Jones situation where you get you over there, they took your passport, you can't go nowhere unless you get permission from them and they had to give you your passport back? No, you were traveling without their consent. That was some of the problems. They were like, you didn't tell the queen you were going to New York for the baby shower. You didn't tell the queen you were going to this other island to vacation. You didn't. I was just sitting there saying this stuff. It's like, do you know people follow you and know what you did and when you did it? Okay. Then she says, let's get into this suicide thing. I take suicide threats, or people who feel suicidal, or even depression, mental issues, serious. If someone tells you they have a problem, you should really listen to them. However, if you're doing it to manipulate people, I have problems. Like the little boy who cried wolf, right? Harry and William had a charity, I think it was a charity in England called Heads Together. He actually, and I think Kate was part of it. And I think they had asked Meghan to become part of it when she married Harry. She was supposed to be part of it, which is about mental health, right? Harry has said he's had counseling over the issue with his mother's death. He's had plenty of years of counseling. Princess Kate has talked about her issues with mental health when she was pregnant. She had a couple of issues because it was hard pregnancies. And she went into depression. She had gotten help for that. So Harry's sitting there saying, and Meghan's saying that she was suicidal. She told Harry she was, and they wouldn't help. No one would help her. She went to HR, and they said she couldn't get help. First of all, you have your own money. You could have got your own help. And you say, oh, well, No, listen to me. If she got pregnant and had her own doctor against what the Queen wanted her to have, and nobody knows who the doctor was, she darn sure could have got her own psychiatrist or psychologist or mental health counselor. She could have. And Harry's saying, well, everybody says didn't feel comfortable telling my family I had nowhere to go because they're, even with me, they're like, this is the way life is. We've all been through it. You just got to push through and move on. So I didn't feel comfortable telling my family she was having mental health issues. Listen, like I said, he had mental health issues he's talked about. Kate has mental health issues she talked about with him when she was pregnant. And you get the blues, whatever. So Meghan, and after what happened to Diana, you don't think they would have helped her? She claims she went to HR. And I have all these emails. Well, you should have showed the emails because they're going to now look and see who you told, if you told anybody. Because if you're using the excuse to Harry, let's say you told Harry, I'm going to kill myself if I don't get out of here. She could have told him that, truthfully. But was she going to do it? No. She used it because she wanted a reason to get out of England. That's all it was. And he played to his sympathies and say she feels like they're going to kill her like they did his mother. This is the whole narrative. This is what she's been running in his head. And he doesn't know that. And so, yes, I believe she was very stressed that she didn't get things the way she wanted to. I believe she was very stressed because that lifestyle is stressful. Even being in the role, I give it to her. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm sure and if it was perfect, she was perfect, it would have been hard. It was hard for a lot of them. So I don't take that away from her. I don't believe she probably thought on an offset moment, I wish I was just dead. But I don't think she was going to commit suicide. Although I take somebody saying that we're going to take suicide in the moment seriously. She's talking about it now to get damn sympathy. Did you get help? Because it didn't just disappear when you just left, right? I mean, if you feel like that and you get depressed, it doesn't just go away. if you were my spouse and we left to relieve that anxiousness and that anxiety, whatever, I would have made sure you still got counseling. I still would have made sure. You and I would have gone to counseling together, because you need help, because I don't want to ever get to that point again. I need you to have better tools in your belt to understand and know how to not get to that point again, if it's possible. Not just leave you hanging, oh, we left, so now everything is great. No, if somebody gets to that point, there are some issues there that need to be addressed. All right? And he's ashamed. And then he mentioned the fact, and that she's black. As Harry said, he said he didn't want the family to know she was having mental problems because it wouldn't fare well. And, you know, and then there's the black element. Like, what? Are we weak-minded because we're black? And he didn't want them to say that? Because that's your thought, man, not everybody else's. Or maybe that's perpetuated in your family. I don't know. But it's like he threw that in there because she's black. He didn't want them to know that she was having mental problems. What the heck? I was offended with that one. I'm like, hold on, wait. Are you insinuating because she's black, she mentally weak? Or somebody might think that? But I don't even care if he thinks somebody else thinks that. He thought it. The way he said it, he thought it. And because she's black. Or did she tell you that? Well, Harry, if you tell them I'm having mental problems, we can't tell them that because they're going to say it's because I'm black. And that will hurt them even worse. No. That I'm going to tell you, that pissed me off in that part of the interview. When he said, and because she's black. So either she's feeding him that crap, they continue to manipulate him. I'm feeling like I'm going to kill myself, but don't tell them because they know it. Then they're going to think it's because I'm black and I'm weak. Or he already thinks that. That pissed me off. Because now they got problems, y'all. They are just... What else? I'm sorry. That made me... I'm going to tell you. You could tell that's the one thing that made me... I went off on that. Just like she went off on that child not having the title. And you tell... Here's the other thing. But the common denominator between Meghan's family issues and Harry's. The only person in between the two of them where the two families are totally wrecked is Meghan. Meghan's wrecked her own family. She's broken off with them, left them in a heap of crap, and now she's gone over and messed up Harry's life and his family and trying to leave them in a heap of crap. But that's not going to happen because I think people are now seeing who she is for who she is. I'm happy they're having a baby girl. Wonderful. That's wonderful. I hope it's very healthy. Well, people have a bet on whether it's going to be named Diana or Doria or Meghan or some variation of. And that's fine if that's what she wants to do. But the thing about her saying she didn't know anything about Harry before she met him is just a lie. There are pictures of her at Buckingham Palace when she was younger. She took pictures with a friend outside of Buckingham Palace. Her friends said she knew everything about Diana because she used to read up on Diana all the time. So she lies. She just misses. She just thinks nobody's gonna figure this stuff out. That's my problem with her. Manipulation and lies. But you have to lie to be a manipulator. So, and it's so subtle to people who don't run into this stuff normally. You don't operate that way, right? So you don't really see it because it's so covert. But when you know this type of personality and you see the things they're doing and here's the biggest tip. When you see the outcome and the carnage left behind them, then you know there's a problem. And it can't be everybody but her. His family is ruined, or she's trying to ruin it, and it's a drama. And then you got her family. Drama. Okay? So you can't dismiss that. You can't say, well, it's just them. It's racist. No. Look at the carnage left behind. It had nothing to do with her race. What's happened now. It has nothing to do with them not liking her. Prince Harry has said his father stopped talking to him. Now, I know y'all going to say, well, how could he judge Prince Harry? He didn't leave his family for a woman. He did his duty. I don't think he should have married Diana, but it was fate. Because he was truly in love with Camilla, he should have married who he wanted to marry. But this is where we are, right? He did it out of duty. He married, followed the rules. And that's what he thinks Harry should do. Because one, you're not even in our realm, me and Williams, because you're never going to be king, supposedly. So What are you wallybagging about? You could do whatever you want to do, go wherever you want to go, and you're complaining about some tabloids you don't have to read, and you're saying we didn't protect you. How? We protected you till you wanted to leave, and then you knew the rules about leaving. You wouldn't get that protection anymore. You didn't want to be a senior royal anymore. Okay. You know what happened to your mother when she left, and they didn't take her protection away automatically. Remember, they took her protection away when they took her HRH away, her Royal Highness status away, because that's when she got divorced from Charles. So it wasn't automatic. She didn't try to leave royal life. She really wanted to still do service. You're doing what you want to do over money. She didn't do it over money. And so there's just there's rules that you got to follow. And there's rules that you have to just respect, because you make your decision in knowing those rules were. That's my only thing with Harry. Now, Harry did say the only reason he left, so y'all who keep thinking, okay, y'all say he left for his wife to protect his wife. So there's people who think that, right? And there's some people say, no, Meghan was never the reason. Harry just was upset and didn't want to be there. He told y'all he left because of her. Oprah outright asked him, would you have left your family, the royal life, if it wasn't for Meghan? And he said no. The only reason he left because he didn't feel like he was being protected or supported or understood. And it's because of his unconscious racism, and he didn't know he was being trapped because Meghan told him he was. I feel trapped here. It's time to go. I can't stay here. I'm gonna kill myself, Harry, if we don't. I'm not joking her. I'm just saying this is what I'm hearing that she told him. She got in his head. She has his, remember when I started out, she's got his confidence. She has shown him she loves him. She will do anything for him. She is going to protect her husband and her relationship. She's a ride or die girl. And he believes it because she has made him believe it. So there's nothing wrong with that. But it's what you do with that power once you know you got a man's confidence and you can use him and spin him around your little finger. That's the problem. And you do it intentionally to drive him crazy and to drive webs between him and his family and everybody else. It's what you do with that power. That is the problem. She knows how to use the power. And she's destroying him. That's the problem. We can learn a lot from Meghan, from the good stuff, and use it for good use, not for negative manipulation. So that was that. And then he's not talking to his brother. We already knew that. So he says they're living far apart. They're on two different paths. That's fine. They need to fix that. He says he and his father's not talking much. He stopped talking to him once he told him he wanted to leave the family. And that's sometimes you're trying to discipline your child. Says, look, you don't know what you're doing. We see what this girl is doing to you. You don't see it. So we're going to have to give you tough love. That's all that was, tough love. He was like, if you want me to know, I'm not talking to you. Write it and put it in writing. Because maybe if you put it in writing, you'll see how stupid it sounds. That's what I would tell my kids. Do you know what you're saying? So he put it in writing, and they went on with it. And then he said that they cut him off financially and for protection. Okay, that's the price you pay. You decide to do what you want to do, and now you're living off the inheritances from your mother, and you got to deal with Spotify and Netflix. And then you said, as everybody knew, it was about money. This is why we're doing this interview, because you need money. But Oprah said that they weren't getting paid for this interview. But then during the commercial breaks, you see that they're pushing and advertising Harry's series with Oprah on mental health on Apple. I ain't got to pay you directly. I'm going to pay you this way. So you can't get a kick off of this, but you'll get a kickback on that for doing this. So he'll get paid from that, not from this. So that's why. That's how that's gonna work, y'all. And it's gonna be legit. That's how you can write your deals up any way you want to. So that's what's gonna happen. Because Oprah always says, I don't pay for interviews, and she doesn't. But there's always kickbacks, and there's one. This one is coming. And see what else is there. Oh, and then they ended it with this. He claims Meghan saved him at the end. And then she turns around and says, no, Harry saved my life. Yeah, this is what she feeds him. He saved her life. It's interesting. But anyway, that's what they said. And I'm like, that's just another thing of what she does to manipulate him and make him think he's her hero. So it's just what she does. And like I said, that's not a bad thing. If you're married and you're doing it for good and you're really pushing your husband's, giving him support and his confidence up and complimenting him, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that look at the carnage left behind because of how she's doing it, though. She's done it, and then she's got carnage. It's like bones of people behind her to get to this, to keep him here in her sights and in her clutch. She's going to walk over and kill everybody else. Not kill, but destroy everybody else and keep Harry here because she don't want him to see all the carnage she's left behind. She won't blame it on everybody. It's everybody else that done this. It's not me, Harry. It's everybody. They're all against me. Everybody's against her. You gotta believe. You can't believe this. Not one of you all can say everybody in the world is against you unless you're paranoid. She's telling him everybody's against me. Social media, the family, the firm. She's the neighbors. Believe you me, if somebody gets too close to Harry, they're against her, and she's gonna tell him that. Do you know what he said about you? Manipulation. And she'll say something true that's part true and part false. Let's just say the guy next door comes out. I know this is not that closely next door, but let's just say the guy next door comes out and says, "Oh, I haven't seen Harry in a while. So, what's he up to?" "Oh, he's out this and that and the other." That's her. And that's it. Well, nice seeing you. I'll see you again. Bye. So then she sees that Harry and this guy hang out a little bit, right? On a couple of days later. And then she gonna call to Harry and says, "Why do you hang out with him?" And he's gonna like, "What's wrong with hanging out with him?" And she's gonna say, "Well, he was saying he'll never see you at home. You ain't never here. Where you at? He makes me think that you thought they're doing something wrong." You see how that acts? I mean, she used a little bit of truth. He did ask where Harry was, but she put the extra spin on it. And so it's plausible he said it. But she gives the intonation and insinuating there's something wrong with what he said, and Harry believes it. That's how they do it. It's so subtle. It's so subtle. So he gets mad, and now he don't want to hang out with him no more. She done already split. Some people are easier to split than you think. Seriously, because they weren't really tight friends. They could just stop speaking. He could just stop speaking to him. He could be calling Harry, "Hey, I thought we could go golfing today," and Harry doesn't pick up the phone. And he just stops picking up his phone because he's mad at what he said to his wife. But this man don't know what she has said to Harry about him. He don't have any idea that happened. That is how slight and covert this stuff is. This stuff about being a narrative about racism. You saw what she did. I think she let Oprah say it, but she was insinuating heavily that the baby did not get a title. She didn't insinuate, she put the words together. He didn't get a title because of his skin color. There was concerns with his skin color. And she did not correct Oprah and tell Oprah well, I thought that, but that's not true. It's because of this. She did say at the end that, in that dialogue, that the baby wouldn't get it until Prince Charles became king, but she didn't explain that those two things had nothing to do with each other. She let people, and Oprah, because Oprah asked the question, are you saying that he didn't get a title because of his skin color? So she's allowing you all to think the same thing. How you can use two separate things, the truth and the lie, and put it together, and people think it's plausible. And now that's all the black people are going to hear now is that the British royal family didn't get that boy a title because of his skin color. They were concerned about his skin color. Was he going to be too dark? They knew he was marrying a mixed race girl when he married her, and knew that would be an issue, or that could happen. He could be darker, he could be lighter. Nobody knows till the baby comes how you gonna be. You pass for white or not. I mean, people claim they thought she was white before they found out she was mixed race. So I don't think it was. It may have been a concern in the beginning or a question, but I don't think it was a racial thing. Just maybe an uninformed, out of the loop conversation that could have been cleared up, but was not, and then thrown in this pit doing this interview, and left for everybody to assume who said it, or just, you know what, who cares who said it? The whole family's racist. I don't like that. And then you got all these black people, black women on British talk shows now coming out saying it's racial. We know what's racist and we know what's not right. This is before the interview. It's a racial thing. It's like, y'all need to stop. It's not. First of all, you ain't there in that family. You don't know. You've only heard one side of the story. You haven't heard the second. You haven't heard. I bet if anybody comes out and talk about this, it'll be Charles. If he does. if he does, if they allow him, because most of these interviews don't go very well with the royal family. But if it was me and I was the freaking Charles, I would be out there talking. I'm like, look, first of all, hold up. This girl came in our family. We accepted her. She was beautiful, intelligent, and Harry was in love. And we were like, come on in, girl. You know, as long as y'all know what you're getting into as far as being in the royal family, what's involved, it's not what you think. It's not the same on the inside as it is on the outside. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of commitment and dedication. And some days you're going to want to give up. If you can come in here and you can do that and do it with a smile and service to people, come on in. Understand that you're biracial. People may talk. You got to be above that, because you know who you are. You don't read the newspapers and the tabloids. Just do your job and love your husband and be loyal to this family. And we're not going to lead you astray. Simple. But then she comes in and she starts making things racial. She starts getting into Harry's head, telling Harry we racist. When have we ever been racist to her? She hasn't done what? Somebody said something about baby skin color. Is that all she has? Because that to me, I don't think that means we're racist. And tell me who said it, and we will address it. Talk about how you've had conversations with her, how you've tried to tell Harry she needs to go to counseling. And Harry feels some kind of way about it because he doesn't feel like he's a loser because they told him to wait and get to know her better before and let her get a chance to understand what her role was before she comes in here and gets married and can't handle it. And then if she can't handle it, and so she says she can't handle it, he feels like he has to hide that because he don't want to seem like I told you so. He don't want to hear I told you so. So overall, he says he's going to try to work with his family, his father, try to correct that issue. Well, we already know why, because he holds the keys to their titles and the baby's title. They got to play nice to him. And if the father gives him the title, William can't take it away in the end. And the other thing about the symbiotic relationship between the press and the British royal family, okay, even the White House, no matter what political party you're in, you always have to invite the press in. And the press is a pool of different persuasions. There's going to be the liberal news, there's going to be the conservative news, and independent news coming in. And every year they have a Christmas party, they invite the media, and then there's a roasting they do. I forget what it's called. They do that every year where it's a party for the press, and they come in and they roast the president or whatever and some of the key people there, and they do it every year because they want to have a relationship. You have to have a balance. Now the news is not there supposedly to report everything great and make everything seems great. They're there to report it fair and balanced. That doesn't always happen, especially when you get to the tabloids. But if you have a good relationship, there's some stories with some people within the group. You can say, look, my son just fell down drunk and got arrested last week. I don't want that in the news. Can you please just not talk about it? Or if you do talk about it, can you kind of soften it a little bit, just gloss over it? Because we want to be transparent, but we don't want to put all his business out there. We want to protect him a little bit. That's privilege, right? White privilege, whatever you want to call it. It's privilege. It's just, privilege of the wealthy. And then sometimes they just like, no, we sympathetic to your problems, but we have to print this story. So we're going to print it this way. So it's going to raise questions, but we're going to do our job. Because you have that relationship where it can be softened. It could be a true story, but just not go and dig in. And it could be a story where we don't care. We're just going to report it. But then there's sometimes there's going to be some give and take. So you do want to have a relationship with the media the best you can. Harry throwing out there, well, my family even invites the media over and the tabloids over to the house for Christmas parties. That's custom. What are you doing? You have your own PR team. You're right. So we all know this is just part of the thing. You have to have a relationship with the media, or you want to be able to control some of it. Everybody wants to control some of it. You can't control all of it. And you need to be more transparent. If as transparent as possible, but just maybe not tell everything. I ain't got no problem with that. I don't want media lying. There are a lot of stories squashed, and there is a narrative that sometimes the media wants to drive as well, and sometimes that narrative is being funded by people in the elite, in the wealthy section, but sometimes the real stories do get through. So we just pray that what's done in the dark will always come in the light, and we have to be able to trust that. Okay, but that he threw in, I thought he was throwing his family under the bus. Like, yeah, they have the people media parties with the media. I'm like, but boy, don't you know anything yet? That's just custom. That's everywhere, every country. Most countries that have a free press. So anyway, that was my whole thing. I ain't reading on it. I'm just telling y'all, from my point of view, Meghan's part of the reason that this racial narrative is being perpetuated. She was indignant about the fact that Archie did not get the title, and then from there she held that child hostage from the family. She said that pretty much. She said, well, then if you don't want, he's not gonna get a title then, and he's not gonna be protected, then y'all not gonna have access to him. Pretty much. And Harry only admitted, well, and I think he was honest. The only reason he left is because of Meghan. He has been duped by that girl. His thoughts have been taken over by hers. And there's maybe some things he thought about that he wasn't very happy about living in the royal family and doing the things he was doing. Not everything. Like sometimes you just go to work, you put a smile on your face, and you make people feel good because that's your job. That's everywhere. You can't always feel happy and joyful every time you meet somebody. But if you're doing a job, you put on a happy face and you make them feel better. So yeah, sometimes he's smiling and laughing and you see him smiling and laughing on film or in photos, and he's in an event, he's not always happy. I mean, that's all of us. A lot of times I go to work, I hate it. I'm in a bad mood and something just happened at home or whatever, but I got to smile and keep doing my job. And that's what he was saying. There's nothing wrong with that. But I don't think he felt trapped. I mean, I'm sure there was some restrictions on him, but not until Meghan came in his life did she tell him he was trapped. He needed to get out, and she did too, or she was going to kill herself. I just wish them the best. They need to move on. They need to make just stop complaining. Make your life the way you want it. You don't have to answer this. This is what I'm saying. They didn't have to do this because they were already free and over in America. They didn't have to do this. They were gone. But they wanted to put their truth out as they saw it. And we got to see and respond to how they put their story out there. And we can believe it or not believe it. We can be sympathetic or not sympathetic. But just hope and wish them well. Because what else is there left to do now? You left. You don't want to go back. You're not coming back. Harry, you may come back for your grandfather's and your grandmother's funeral. Whenever that happens. I'm not saying it's going to happen anytime soon. But other things, I think they're done with y'all. I think that, Harry, you furthered the divide between you, your brother, and your dad. Meghan, you have cut off all ties to the royal family. You are no longer welcome. That's my opinion, and I read on this, and I just think that she is done. They're not going to be any big hoopla about the next baby's birth. Probably would just wish you well. Glad it's a happy, healthy baby, but that's about it. And I do not believe that the Queen is happy with what's happening. They keep saying they have a great relationship with the Queen. I think they're doing that to keep out of trouble and stay in her graces a little bit. I do not believe they have a really great relationship with the Queen. It's strained because all that's happened, all the carnage, there's no way the Queen is saying, my grandson is still great and I'm loving. No, she's not happy, and she's taking things away from them because she knows she had to. So it's not great. And she's very saddened about this interview, as is William and the rest of the royal family. They wish it was not done. Eugenia's name has been mentioned now and brought out to the front that they were friends. And people are going to look at her like, what the heck did you bring into this family? Because it was you. So she got to Eugenia too. But you see this. She overshadowed Eugenia's wedding by saying she was pregnant. She didn't care about Eugenia. That's what she discards people. She used Eugenia to meet Harry. And when she got Harry, got married, got the baby, one, you didn't see Eugenia in her wedding. You didn't see that, did you? And two, she was there, but she wasn't in it, like a bridesmaid or anything like that. And two, they don't even talk about Eugenia. You don't even see them hanging out together. She said they were friends. Do you see any pictures of Meghan and Eugenia together, other than at, I think, maybe her sister's wedding? Eugenia's sister's wedding? I don't think so. So, to me, that says a lot. She uses people to get what she wants, and she discards them. And, Harry's going to have to learn. He's going to have to live with this as a codependent, and it's going to, not ever be okay, because it's a lot of up and downs when you're codependent. Don't believe it's perfect behind. Everybody thinks it's perfect. Look, they're so beautiful together, and they've got another baby coming in. No. There's a lot of stuff behind the scenes we're not seeing with them, because a narcissist will drive a codependent crazy. So it's very tumultuous up and down. That's what's going on behind the scenes that you all don't see. It always does. So hopefully Harry sees it before he can fix it. I mean, he would have to get some deep counseling, him and her, and just acknowledge that she's a narcissist. And or whatever the terminology that she is, and deal with it on that level and admit and be open about it to themselves. Other than that, she's going to drive him crazy. She's going to drive him crazy. But if before that happens, hopefully he wakes up and he does something about it, whether he just leaves her and says, I can't do this anymore for his own mental health sake, or they do get this counseling they need to work through it, because narcissists very rarely change who they are. She's been doing this stuff for a while, or she wouldn't be as good on this level. So anyway, that's my opinion. Y'all take it for what it's worth. But that's what I saw last night when I saw it. The British people get a chance to see the whole thing tonight, and they can make their own opinions about it. But it was not good. It was not necessary. I wished that she had just gone online and did the interview about, okay, we left because we just didn't feel this way and that way. Left it to that. And then the other part about talk about things they are doing now, what they want to do in the future. More about that than all the dirt they were trying to dish on the royal family. But she went so deep into just daggers at the royal family, and she, and not enough about what she's trying to do for the future so much. It just was distorted, and so I just feel like if you were going to do it, it should have been more of a looking forward than all looking back and pointing daggers. And that's my opinion, and I'm sticking with it. And I think there's going to be a huge fallout. I'll do a reading probably Tuesday after I want to get the British people who haven't had a chance to see the video, or the interview rather, a chance to see it and form their opinions. There's already a lot of stuff in the news now if you want to see, or on YouTube. But I want to do a reading on what the next step is going to be, because I really think, and per my last reading, that the Queen's going to take even more away from them. Because this just solidified what they were feeling about her, and they think that she's a threat to the royal family. She's a threat to Harry, not a physical threat, but just causing too much drama, too many problems, and trying to ruin their reputation, take it down to the level where it's just demolished. That's what she's trying to do, and she's vengeful. Right now, as they said, she's a woman scorned, and you know what they say about a woman being scorned. So she's burning it down. She's burning it down to the ground. So as much as she can, and as much as they allow her to. So and this thing with Oprah, this interview or the series with Oprah and Harry, there's another, I don't know how many shows is going to be in that series. That's just another way that Harry can keep browbeating the royal family. They was probably, this interview was probably the tip of the iceberg, and he could, depends on how they act or react, or is already in his mind to do it, especially if Meghan's on the show too, perpetuate the racism in the royal family and dig them in a hole and burn the place down. So it's going to be something to watch and see. And I think before he does that, the Queen's going to take a lot more away from him. So anyway, this is longer than I thought it was going to be. But that was it. That was a rundown. So y'all watch it on YouTube. Don't watch it if you don't want to. If you prefer not to watch it on live, because add to the ratings, because all they're doing is making money off that. I just watch it off YouTube for myself, or some other way of looking at it, because I'm not gonna pay for lies. I'm not. So have a great day. You know how to reach me, Ascension Soul Coaching at gmail.com for a reading. We talk about anything you want, from life issues to job, finances, relationships. I'm here. So see you soon. Thank you for checking in with me, and I'll talk to you later.